With how it's advertised, it's easy to understand how some people might view Hunt as Crytek's attempt at replicating popular battle royale games such as Fortnite or Call of Duty Warzone. But my goodness, this statement could not be further from the truth. Hunt Showdown is absolutely brilliant. Hunt Showdown is best described as a competitive battle royale type game, but in actuality it's far more complex than that. And before I go ahead and review the game, it's important that you understand what Hunt Showdown actually is. You will spawn at a random location on the map. That same session could have up to 11 other players. They could be 11 solo players, but it's most likely either 6 teams of 2 or 4 teams of 3. Once the match begins, you will have to search the map for clues. These can be located by using your dark sight. You will often find yourself having to fight through hordes of PvE creatures in order to reach these clues. From the swarm-infested hives to the particularly vicious bite of a hellhound, there is no shortage of challenge to the player. After collecting all 3 clues, the boss location will be revealed on your map. There are currently 3 different bosses in the game: the Spider, the Butcher, and the Assassin. Once killed, you will need to banish them. This will alert all players on the map that the boss has been killed, and your location will be revealed by a giant blue tornado-looking thing in the sky. This is where it gets a lot harder, because everybody is likely coming to try and kill you. After the banishing is over, it will drop 2 bounty tokens. When retrieved, a bounty token will provide you with the ability to see the locations of other hunters when you're using your dark sight ability, but only for a limited time. Once you have these tokens, you need to reach an extraction point. Much easier said than done when you've got enemy hunters trying to kill you and steal your bounty. Should you succeed, you will be rewarded with experience and hunt dollars for killing enemies or extracting with a bounty. In Hunt, death is permanent. Should you die during a match, you will lose your hunter, all of their equipment, and the experience that you earned in that match will be cut in half. You receive a free tier 1 hunter after every match, regardless as to whether you survive or not. So you don't need to worry about running out of hunters. The experience that you earn from a match will increase both your bloodline rank and the level of your hunter. Ranking up your bloodline will allow you to unlock new weapons, tools, consumables, and traits. Leveling up your hunter will allow you to make use of those traits. The hunt dollars that you earn from each match will allow you to purchase both hunters and equipment. Once a hunter reaches level 25, you will be able to retire them, thus providing a boost for your bloodline rank at the cost of losing the hunter. Hunt works on an infinite content loop. Once you reach level 100 on the bloodline, you will receive the option to prestige. Doing this resets your bloodline rank to 1, and you lose all your money, hunters, and weapon XP. It plays out like this. You go into a match, you win. Yay! You upgrade your hunter and gear, and then you play again, until you inevitably die. And then you repeat this process until you reach bloodline rank 100, or until you have all the unlocks in the game, and then you prestige and do it all over again. Should you choose to prestige, then you will receive a random legendary weapon skin for free. Legendary weapons and hunters can be purchased using blood bonds, and once unlocked, you can repurchase them with hunt dollars. Legendary hunters and weapons do not need to be repurchased after you prestige, but you will be required to unlock the base variant of the weapons before you can use their legendary counterparts. Now I know what you're thinking. Everything that I've described so far sounds a lot like Escape from Tarkov, other than it being a battle royale set in 19th century Louisiana with infection-crazed town people and cowboy wannabes. But there is one element of Hunt that outshines all others, and that's the sound design. Hunt Showdown uses 3D directional or binaural sound. Essentially, should somebody be walking on your left, you will hear it predominantly in the left part of your headset or headphones. In order to fully understand what I mean, I want you to take a look, or rather a listen, at this clip. You can't just hear the rough direction a sound is coming from, but you can pinpoint the exact location where it originated from. And each sound is designed clearly enough that you can tell exactly what caused it too. You can hear a gunshot from over 400 meters, further than that even, and still be able to know exactly which compound it is coming from and exactly what gun they are using. Sound is vitally important in Hunt Showdown, and utilizing it fully throughout a match will drastically improve your gameplay and is incredibly rewarding. Everything in Hunt makes some form of sound, and I do mean everything. One of the most challenging aspects of Hunt is knowing when and where you should or shouldn't make sound. Hunt is all about balancing your stealth with your speed. Sometimes a situation will call upon you to be particularly stealthy and remain undetected. Other times, you will need to move quickly and decisively in order to achieve victory. When you play Hunt, you should be constantly listening out for sound cues. Hearing something in the distance that might tip you off to an enemy being nearby could be crucial and give you the advantage in a firefight. It's also important to consider what sounds your actions will make and whether that sound is worth making. Is that action really worth doing? What purpose does the action serve? And if it's that important, can that purpose be fulfilled in a different way? Hunt's audio design is so influential upon the player because it is the single pillar that all of the game's content is built upon. As I mentioned before, every sound is completely unique and very distinct. Moving through chains makes sound, climbing a ladder makes sound, opening doors or gates makes sound, reviving a teammate makes sound. Everything makes sound. This is why the single most valuable tool that you can have at your disposal is a good pair of headphones. If you were to try and play this using speakers, then, well, let's just say you're going to struggle massively. I cannot put into words how difficult this game is to play without headphones. There isn't a single other instance where sound is more important than when you are in PvP. Sound can be a boon, but it can also be your doom. During PvP, sound is information. Exact locations of enemies, what weapons they are using, what consumables they are carrying, are all things that can be figured out with sound. The decision whether to push or retreat can often be determined by the sounds that you hear. Do you hear an enemy lighting a dynamite fuse or a firebomb? Then you should find cover, back away from them, or perhaps even rush towards them depending on the situation you're in. You hear them reloading? Well, now's a good time to push. Another great thing about PvP is that you can use certain sounds to elicit certain reactions from other players. Let's say that you know a player is inside of a building. In order to get a better idea of where they are, you could light some dynamite and toss it inside. Should you hear footsteps running away from the dynamite, now you know where they are. Should you hear nothing, then they're probably not in the corner where you threw the dynamite, or they're just incredibly dumb. PvE creatures can also aggro on you should you make too much noise. Firing off gunshots in an area filled with AI is likely going to make things much, much harder for you. if you're in a gunfight, then clearing the surrounding AI is important. The last thing that you want is to die to an immolator because you have an itchy trigger finger. One of the most important things for you to know about Hunt is that the gunplay is slow. Firefights are often quite drawn out. Some of them can end up lasting over 20 minutes. This isn't Call of Duty. You cannot rush headfirst into a fight and expect to come out on top, especially as a new player who is lacking in both experience and good gear. If you expect to be popping heads left, right, and center in your first few hours of Hunt, then I'm afraid you're sorely mistaken. Most of the weapons in Hunt have really slow reload speeds and very limited ammunition. Combine this with the need for strong communication between team members and clever use of tactics, and you don't exactly have a game well suited to a run and gun playstyle. I've heard a lot of people complain that the guns feel clunky, but I think it's important that you understand they are meant to feel clunky. The weapons are a collection of 19th century rifles, pistols, crossbows, and shotguns. They aren't exactly cutting edge like the guns that we have in modern day. Most of these guns need to be reloaded manually. Now, I can understand why people might dislike this, but personally, I really love the decisions that the devs made on this. I feel like the gunplay is really fun. The longer reload time favors accuracy above all else, and it means that you have to consider every shot that you take. It allows you to ambush your opponent successfully rather than the outcome being determined by who's using the better weapon. Don't misunderstand me here, there is a meta in Hunt, and should you choose to run the meta weapons, you'll probably actually have an easier time getting kills. However, it is more than possible to win matches without resorting to the meta builds, and that's the great thing about the gunplay in this game. It isn't dominated by the meta. Graphically, the game looks amazing. After all, it is a Crytek title, a game company who is known for creating absolutely beautiful games. To some, it might not look that impressive at first, but as soon as you jump into the world of Hunt, you will come to understand why it's so good. Like many aspects of the game, the beauty is very subtle. The amount of detail that has been put into the world space is incredible. The density of the foliage and the busyness of the compounds makes the world feel surprisingly alive, especially considering it's a society that's been destroyed by a plague. The fact of the matter is, for some people, Hunt Showdown's graphics might seem underwhelming. And that comes down to the game's focus on realism. Games like Fortnite or Apex are heavily stylized and very brightly colored, whereas Hunt's world space is grey, dull, and beaten down by the tragedies befalling it. Crytek have managed to create a very unsettling world space. The world itself feels busy and populated with so many signs of life scattered around the world. And yet the only inhabitants are mindless creatures that now roam the bayou. What should be busy towns, full of chatter and laughter, are now empty shells, given life only by the rattling of chains and the distant screeches of monsters. Hunt is the most fun I've ever had in any Battle Royale style game. The gunplay is slow and clunky in the best way possible, and it has some of the best audio design I've ever had the pleasure of listening to. I absolutely love this game. That much should be obvious from what I've said so far. However, with all that being said, Hunt is a really difficult game. One of the primary reasons that Hunt Showdown is such a unique Battle Royale experience is because of the tension that it makes you feel. It's so palpable that you could probably cut it with a knife. And while I personally view this as a positive thing, it does make it extremely difficult for new players to get into the game. Something that makes the Battle Royale genre so popular is the ability to play match after match with no consequences and have a little bit of fun. Hunt is not like that. Hunt is stressful. It isn't the type of game that allows you to have a casual match here and there. Hunt requires some dedication, and I think that in terms of popularity at least, this is its downfall. In a battle royale like Fortnite or Call of Duty Warzone, you can hop from one match to the next with pretty much zero consequences for failure. However, in Hunt, dying or failing to extract in time means losing your hunter and all of your hard-earned gear, and that is why it's so stressful. Unfortunately, if you're a solo player, the matchmaking in Hunt is a difficult experience, at least for the first 50 or 70 hours or so. Playing Bounty Hunt by yourself is something I would strongly recommend against doing as a new player. Most of the time you will find yourself going up against duos, and obviously playing as a solo in that situation would put you at a huge disadvantage. You can find random teammates, however, because of the permadeath feature in Hunt, lots of players will be hesitant to team up with the newer, inexperienced players out of fear that they might lose their hunter and their gear. The only way around this is to keep trying to find a random partner until somebody is kind enough that they will match up with you. Unfortunately, the difficulties don't end there, as once you get into a match, it's likely that you're going to be up against players who have a lot more experience than you, which means that most of your matches are probably going to end up looking like this. Hunt has a massive skill curve. It takes a long time to get used to the playstyle, the sound cues, and the weapons. Each rifle, shotgun, or pistol behaves differently, with different effective ranges, muzzle velocities, etc, etc. I have almost 100 hours in Hunt now, and I still fail to lead my targets properly with pretty much any gun. I'm not even close to being able to do it. Granted, I'm terrible at video games and I'm a really slow learner, but still, you get the point. Hunt is really, really difficult. But if you can weather the storm and work through those first 50 to 70 hours of gameplay, it is absolutely, undoubtedly worth the grind. So, do I recommend Hunt Showdown? Well, honestly, that depends on what kind of an experience you are looking for. I think that if you have what it takes to put up with all of the shit that Hunt throws at you in the first 50 to 70 hours, and enjoy the intense, adrenaline-fueled firefights that Hunt has to offer, then yes, it is 100% worth the buy. But if you're looking for a more casual gameplay experience and you don't enjoy intense gameplay or stressful situations, then Hunt probably isn't for you. Don't get me wrong, I still think that you should give it a chance. But if you're super uncertain, even after this entire review, then I would definitely recommend waiting for a sale. Speaking of which, if you are watching this video as it goes out, or at any point before February the 8th, 2021, Hunt is currently on sale for half price on Steam. So don't waste your time, go grab it while you can, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video helped you come to a decision on whether you want to play Hunt Showdown in 2021. If you would like to see some more Hunt action, then come join me at twitch.tv/DrPandaJawn. Thanks again, and peace out.